Hello and welcome to Naveed for Speed. The Nissan Juke is not an ugly car. Allow me to explain.
The Juke is Nissan's small SUV with plenty of character. The hybrid comes with a 1.6 litre petrol engine and an electric motor which combined produce 141 brake horsepower. 0 to 62 miles per hour comes in 10.1 seconds with a top speed of 103 miles per hour.
Yes, that's right. The Nissan Juke is not an ugly car. Now that's a phrase, if I said that in the Middle Ages, I would probably be burnt at the stake. But this is not the Middle Ages, this is 2023. And this generation of Nissan Juke is actually pretty good. It looks really nice. You can see that they've updated the styling to make it a bit more closer to the Nissan Qashqai, particularly with this front grille and the lights, but it also still has those features that we're used to seeing in the Nissan Juke, like the round lights over here. Now, because this is the Techno Plus model, the exterior styling of this car has some pretty cool and extra features. So to start with, this beautiful paintwork that you're seeing is a bi-tone paintwork in magnetic blue and with a black pearl black roof. Sorry, the Pirates of the Caribbean keep coming into my head there. It's a pearl black roof. And you also get a lot of cool features around the car. So for example, on the front bumpers, you get black front bumpers and side skirts as well. You also get this really cool satin silver finish on the front bumper, and you get gloss black wing mirrors and roof. Coming towards the back of the car, then you also get a black rear bumper as well. You can see around the car, in the rear you get privacy glass, and I think it just all adds to that cool contrast between the blue and the black. But of course you can get this car in several other colors. Now this particular color, magnetic blue, is an optional extra and it costs £170. As far as optional extras go, that's pretty good. Now you've noticed the car keeps locking and unlocking. That's because this car comes with intelligent key feature. So if I come around this side, how to get into the car, I've got my key in my pocket and I can simply get into the car.
And off you go. This Techno Plus model comes with 19-inch wheels and body-colored door handles.
Right, so the interior of the Nissan Juke is just as good as the exterior. There's some really nice, pretty features in here, a lot of cool materials. For example, if we start with the seats, you get these leather and Alcantara seats, and they're like sports bucket seats, which come with Bose speaker systems in the headrest for both the driver and the passenger. In total, the full car has 10 Bose speakers, so you get some, the sound quality is really good. Now, if we start with the steering wheel, I always start with the steering wheel. It's got a flat bottom steering wheel, which makes it look a bit more premium. Obviously, leather steering wheel with some stitching in there. I think this car does really well to disguise its affordability. It makes it look a little bit more premium. Inside, the materials and the refinement, they feel sturdy, they feel strong, it feels well built. As we move towards the central dashboard, now you have this infotainment screen here. Now that's not the same, that's not as good as premium infotainment systems, but it still does everything that you need it to do. It has Apple CarPlay, Android Auto, rear facing camera for parking. Because this is the Techno Plus model, you get a round view is what Nissan call it, 360 degrees camera. You also, in the door cards, you get some cool interior lighting, which because it's the daytime you can't see. You get some cool lighting in the door cards and around the gear selector. And you get a lot of plastics, Alcantaras and more plastic trims. What I do like about the interior of this car though, however, is buttons. You get buttons on the steering wheel and buttons for the climate control. It's none of that haptic feedback stuff. It is actual intuitive buttons and they are easy to use. So when it comes to family life or everyday life, I think this car could be used by anybody. It's so easy to get a hang of, and yeah, all you do is you get in, and with that intelligent key you can put your foot on the brake and press start, and the car suddenly starts for you, and it's so easy. You don't even need to use the key for anything. Right, so because I maintain that the Nissan Juke is a good car for families, at some point somebody is going to have to sit in the back seat. So of course I wanted to have a look at what the back seat is like, and contrary to what I've heard, there's actually loads of space. I've got plenty of leg room. I thought that the back seat was purely just for child seats, for example, but you've got plenty of space. If you are sitting 5 passengers in here, however, the passenger in the center will struggle to put their feet anywhere because there's not a lot of room there. But for 4 passengers, this car is perfectly comfortable, actually very spacious in the back, surprisingly, even if it isn't so much at the front. But also headroom isn't that bad. I thought it would be with the sloping roofline, but I'm finding it really cool. What I am finding, however, is that there is very little amounts of light in the back. Now, the C-pillars are quite large and the rear window is quite small, so that doesn't let a lot of light in, and of course this car has rear privacy glass as well. So again, there's a lot less light. So I feel like maybe on longer journeys, if you are sitting in the back seat, you might start to feel a little bit sick. But otherwise, I think the back seat's perfectly fine. From the back, there isn't a lot of visibility towards the front, but it does what it says on the tin. And like I say, for family life, for city life, perfectly fine. What I'm going to do now is I'm going to mention some of the things that I like about this car and some of the features that I'm not too keen on. So the first thing I like about the Nissan Juke is the exterior styling. Personally, I think it looks pretty good, and I am ready for that war in the comments if any of you think it doesn't. Let me know what you think about the styling of the Nissan Juke in the comments below. Number 2 is the interior styling. I think the interior styling of the Nissan Juke has come a long way, and it does really well to disguise itself as a premium car. Number 3 is the safety features that you get in this car. This car has adaptive cruise control, it has lane keep assist, and it even has front collision warning that can detect pedestrians and cyclists. Number 4 is the seats. These bucket seats are actually pretty good. Despite the fact that they are mostly leather, they're actually pretty comfortable. And they have the Bose speaker sound system in them. But the thing that I really like about the seats is that they are heated. There are also features of the Nissan Juke Hybrid that I don't like. For example, the rear visibility isn't the greatest. Those C-pillars get in the way, especially when you're trying to park. But luckily for all specs of the Nissan Juke, you get a rear-facing camera for when you're parking. And for this particular Techno Plus model, you get 360 degrees camera for when you're parking. Number 2 is the seating position and the front view. I found it very difficult to try and find myself a comfortable seated position, and it feels a little bit cramped in here as well. Now, on the subject of cramped, the windscreen feels a bit cramped as well. I found it very difficult to see, especially with this interior mirror and the infotainment system. There's not a lot of room between there. So when I'm sat at a set of traffic lights, sometimes I can't even see the traffic lights unless I lean forward to have a look at them. Number 3 is the windscreen wipers. If you set them to auto, it doesn't necessarily match how much rain there is on your windscreen, and you're often having to manually do your windscreen wipers. Number 4 is the traffic sign recognition system. Now, in dark conditions or during rainy weather, the traffic sign recognition system was actually rather inaccurate. There was even an occasion where it told me that the speed limit was 30 miles an hour on a motorway. But in fairness, during clear conditions, the traffic sign recognition system is actually pretty accurate. When driving the Nissan Juke, because it's automatic, all you do is simply put into drive, disengage the handbrake, and off you go. Now, initially, the car will start in electric mode, and you can sense that it's really quiet, it's quite smooth. And Nissan actually say that you can drive in EV mode for 99% of the time. Now in EV mode, the car can drive up to 34 miles an hour. So it's perfect for your a trip to the shops or around town, around the city, where you don't really need to be going any faster. But when you put your foot down on the accelerator a little bit more, you notice that 1.6 litre 4-cylinder engine kicks in. Now this car has 6 gears. Even though it has an automatic gearbox, it has 6 gears, 2 gears for the electric motor, 4 gears for the internal combustion engine. But I want to talk about the ride and the comfort levels. So of course the seats do well to cushion a lot of the bumps, but especially on roads where there's some potholes or some bumps, especially around the city, you will find that you can definitely feel those. It is a little bit uncomfortable, but again, it's perfect for city life, I think, and especially if you're not going to come onto country roads like this. Going over speed bumps, however, now that's an experience, because going over speed bumps, this car certainly feels like it jiggles about a bit. It just doesn't feel comfortable in itself. It doesn't feel set, and so you just got to take it easy when you go over speed bumps. Now when it comes to the steering, as we are coming over around these sort of bendy roads, the steering is actually really light. It's really easy to use, and especially for parking as well. It's easy. It's meant to be for family life. It's meant to be for everyday life. And yeah, around these bends, it's so easy to move around. But it doesn't seem like you don't get a lot of feedback in the steering wheel. So, but when you turn the steering wheel, no matter where you want to go, it turns really well. If you do put the car up into sport mode, however, you will find that steering does become a little bit sharper, a little bit quicker. So the car has 3 driving modes. There's eco mode, there's standard mode, and there's sport mode. Now, generally, what you'll find throughout all of these 3 modes is that there's not much of a difference in the way that it feels. In eco mode, it probably does a little bit more regen. In sport mode, it's probably using the internal combustion engine a little bit more. But generally, I found that there's not really much of a difference. The car seems to rev quite high anyway during normal driving, so during sports mode, it's not much different. Now, talking about revving, when you're on the motorway, if you're cruising along at, let's say, 50 to 60 mile an hour and you want to overtake somebody, when you put your foot down, there's not a lot of torque there that will allow you to accelerate past somebody. So if you are wanting to overtake people, you've got to prepare in advance, and you will hear that engine revving really high. Now, another thing to mention is the e-pedal mode. So this car, you can drive it on one pedal. So if you stick the car into e-pedal mode, now I'm driving on just the accelerator, and when I take my foot off the accelerator, the car will significantly slow, but not to a stop. Now, e-pedal mode is really good for driving again around the city, and I personally have not used it yet because it's something which you do need to get used to. In fact, I'm using it right now, and I am actually very quickly getting used to it. Talking about getting used to the car, there's a lot of functions around the entire car, a lot of obviously safety features as well, but I like how everything is in buttons. You've got a multifunctional steering wheel which all has these intuitive buttons, very easy to understand, very easy to get used to. We have a situation here. So what is the car like when the speed increases? When you leave the city, for example, and you come onto the A roads? Well, first thing that you notice is the noise increases. The engine is still revving quite high, so you can hear the engine. And of course, you can hear the tire noise on the road. Now this car has 19-inch alloys, and you can get the Nissan Juke with 17-inch alloys as well, but I don't think that sound would improve massively, to be honest. The sound of the tires is still there, and you can hear a lot of sound from the wind. The wing mirrors are quite large, so that obviously plays a big part into that. But yeah, as far as the refinement, when driving the car at higher speeds, the noise is always there. But if I mention refinement in terms of the interior, all these, the plastic and the Alcantara and the leather trim, it's fine. So when I mention refinement, I'm not talking about the build quality, I'm talking about essentially the design of the car. What else you notice is that the bumps, you can feel them a lot more as well. So on long journeys, this car can start to get a little bit uncomfortable. But if you are going on a long journey, the car is, again, very easy to drive. It has the adaptive cruise control. It can sense the car in front and essentially brake when that car brakes and speed up when that car speeds up as well. There's also lane keep assist and lane departure warnings as well. So there's a lot of tech on this car that can keep you really safe. And when you get to your destination and you need to park, again, the steering wheel is very light, so it's easy to park, and you get a rear view camera. But with this being the Techno Plus model, you also get a round view, which is a full color 360 degrees camera. So overall, the car is easy to drive, has great features, great safety tech, and it has all the basics that you need, and it's packaged in a really nice way that makes it feel that slightly more premium. For example, those heated seats, there's electric windows, there's all sorts of really cool stuff in here which you wouldn't necessarily expect from a car of this price. But I certainly think the Nissan Juke Hybrid is a great family car, a great city car, a great car for commutes, and you know what, for long journeys, yeah, even for long journeys, because it's easy. Right, so the boot of the Nissan Juke is actually rather interesting as well, because in the Nissan Juke you get a 422 litre boot, but because this is the hybrid, it's only 355 litres, because underneath there's a load of hybrid stuff going on. Now, inside the boot you also get this adjustable floor, which you can lift up to reduce the load lip. So that's pretty good, makes it easier to get things in and out of. But otherwise, although 355 litres is not a lot of boot space, this car does sit behind its rivals like the Skoda Kamiq and the Volkswagen T-Cross. But looking at it from here, it actually seems like plenty, especially if you're just going to use it for your shopping or for taking stuff to and from work. But I think, yeah, whilst this car does sit behind its rivals, the price point of the car is cheaper as well. So when it comes to parking the Nissan Juke, because this is the Techno model, you also get a round view, which is a 360 degrees camera. So as I come to a parking space here, I can reverse in. Oh, that's a very terrible angle. I'm going to go forward and do that again. So let's do it again. There we go. And you can park nicely into your parking space with ease. Now there is one thing to notice: when I put the car back into drive, if I'm parking forwards, the camera turns off. So I then need to click the camera button to actually turn the front facing camera on, and then I can move forward and then reverse nicely into my parking space with ease. So the price of the Nissan Juke is rather interesting. If you get the purely internal combustion engine 1 litre Nissan Juke, it comes to around, you can get that for just under £20,000 for the basic model. But because this is the hybrid, 1.6 litre hybrid, and it's the Techno Plus model, it comes in at around £30,000. And that includes the £170 optional extra, which is the bitone paint. You also get 3 years warranty and 60,000 miles on the warranty, but I want to also mention briefly about the fuel economy. Now early on, especially around the city, I was getting low 40s, but I was getting, as I took it out onto the motorway and I did a variety of various driving through city roads and on motorways and A roads and B roads, I found myself in the high 40s. Now that's actually not too bad considering Nissan claim the fuel economy is 56 miles per gallon and I have a heavy foot as well. So overall then, it is a really easy car to get yourself familiar with. It's perfect for, you know, just driving around the city and taking it to the shops and commuting to and from work. And of course, because it's hybrid, you get some great benefits. It's more economical than the internal combustion engine Nissan Juke, but it costs slightly more as well. The power is up too, so there's benefits and disadvantages for that car as well. So overall then, I think the Nissan Juke Hybrid is certainly a car you should consider if you're looking a car for city driving.